Hello everybody! Anyone in the mood to go camping? Maybe just in the mood to create a campfire and roast some marshmallows, maybe to make some s'mores? Well, we are gonna make an artwork today to make us feel like we're making a campfire. This is one of the campfires that I've already made. The supplies you need today is really just different colored papers. I'm working with warm colors for my campfire. I have yellow, orange, and red. I have black that's gonna be my base, my background to make it as if it's nighttime, and then brown for the wood that the campfire is burning from. Of course, a pencil, something to draw with, or possibly crayons or marker, depending on if you wanna use them for shading or so you can see them better on the construction paper. It's kind of hard to see pencil on the brown and even some of the red, so you might wanna use a darker color, or just pencil. And then of course a glue stick, because glue is gonna come in at the end. It's gonna be really important to place all of your pieces together and get them to stick. And then of course, if you want to be doing a little bit of play with this campfire, you can make a s'more. So you can use a skewer stick and a packing peanut, or if you have real marshmallows, these are some little baby marshmallows, then you can use those. You can pretend you're roasting them over your little campfire. And then at the end, you can eat them and play as many times as you want. So the black paper is going to be the main paper that you're going to be using. This will be the only paper that you don't draw or cut into, and you'll be building your campfire on this. This is your background. So I'm going to put this off to the side, so as I draw and cut things out, I can arrange it on the black paper. I'm going to start with my brown paper, and I'm going to be drawing the logs or the wood. So I actually drew on mine with brown crayon. You could use brown marker if you like. You don't have to do the details on the logs. One of the simpler ways to create logs is just to cut out, so I'll draw it here for you first, is just to cut out some shapes of rectangles. That's a really simple way of making logs. This would be really good for like preschool and kindergarten, right? Just doing some rectangles and cutting those shapes out. If you're a little bit older and you want a little bit more of a challenge, you want to actually create something that looks a little bit more realistic, then you're going to take that rectangular shape and you're just going to draw the long lines of the rectangle, the top and the bottom. And then a log is generally round on the end. So I'm going to do a little rounded curved line to connect my two longer lines. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then I'm not going to do a full circle. It's going to be more like an oval on the end. Oval shape, really slender oval. And then if you like, you can kind of do like a little bit of a spiral in the center to kind of show the rings of the tree. And then last but not least is just a couple of little just random sized dashed lines, right? Just put them in different spots. You can curl them if you want. Wood and trees have all different markings, but this is just one way of doing it. You can also look at photos of wood or go outside and look at a tree in your yard just to give yourself a little bit better idea of some details that you could add. So that is really all there is to creating a log. You're gonna make 3, you could even make 4 of these for the bottom of the fire. And that's gonna be the base. That's gonna be the first thing that you glue down on your black paper. All right, my next step after drawing out and cutting out my logs to my campfire is to create the largest back piece of the flames. And that's gonna be the orange. You can see here, that's the largest piece. And then I cut out smaller pieces of the red and yellow and pasted them around it. So when you think of a campfire, there's gonna be a big base, like a big rounded bottom. So you can do 2 curved lines or just 1 large curved line. I'm gonna be drawing in marker today, because once I cut it out, I can just flip over my paper and then I won't see my marker lines, but I want you to be able to see them on the camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and do 1 large curved line. You can also do 2 kind of smaller curved lines at the bottom as well. And then you wanna think about the flames are kind of wider at the base and then they're gonna taper off to a point. And you can have all different sort of directions, right? They can be going to the left, to the right, straight up. So I'm just gonna do little sort of triangle kind of pointed shapes, right? Kind of looks like a triangle here. And then I'm gonna curve them a little bit Maybe I'll have one going in, maybe one going way out here. And then I'm gonna start making them bigger as I get up to the top. Different sizes. They're just, some of them kind of look like a half moon that hasn't gone all the way through. Some of them look more like a triangle, but you just want to think about that they're wider at the base and then they slowly taper off into a point. And you can really do as many as you want. There's no limit. Some of them you're going to be covering up with other pieces. But actually, I didn't do too bad for that one. So this is a really great base to my campfire. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. I'll probably flip it over so I don't see my black lines on my final artwork. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the yellow and red pieces. So there's really no limit to how many pieces of the yellow and the red that you add to your campfire. The sizes is really going to be up to you also. You could trade these out. The red could be the yellow could be the red. You could have a lot more of one or the other. It doesn't really matter. This is the one that I made. This is one from a 5-year-old. Still looks pretty awesome. And if you're working with a really little student, like a preschooler, TK, another trick is you can also have them trace their hands, or you can trace their hands, and then have them cut those out so they can practice their scissor skills and use their handprints as the flames. That's a really great way to adapt it to some younger ages. So in order to create one like I've created, I just kind of use some organic shapes, right? So I'll leave this on here so you can kind of see it a little bit better. And like I said, I'm gonna use a black marker so you can see it a little bit better, but then I'll flip them over once I paste them down. You can also do some shading, like I shaded a little bit with some orange crayon on this one. It's really up to you and your skill level and how advanced you'd like to push it. You could easily push this into a much more realistic form with doing some shading. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do some sort of wavy lines and then taper them off maybe a little bit, a little wider in the middle, a little skinnier at the top. Right, so again, I'm gonna do maybe like an S shape, really elongated S, really skinny at the edge, kind of wider in the middle, and then taper it off again at the edge to like a little bit of a point. If I want to do a little bit bigger of one, I'll start at the bottom, come up to a point, tapered a little bit, then widen again. Kind of almost looks like a flower petal, right? And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on my red paper. As many as you like. I could probably do a lot more. I could do some much bigger kind of curvy, maybe some S shapes, go wide, go thin, go wide again, right? Maybe round them off at the bottom if I know that I'm gonna be putting that at the base of my campfire. It's really up to you. You can get really creative with this step. Small pieces, big pieces, just kind of curvy lines, S shapes with tapered points, maybe some rounded bottoms if they're gonna go on the front of the campfire. And now we're gonna cut them out and put it all together. All right, now that we have all of our pieces cut out, I have my largest part of my campfire, the orange, some smaller organic kind of swirly red and yellow pieces. I have my brown logs. I'm gonna start pasting it all together to my black background. Like I said before, if you're working with a younger student, like preschool or TK age, you can simplify some of your forms. You can do some longer rectangle shapes for the logs. You can trace their hands and have them practice their cutting skills with, which is a really great opportunity. And then you can just use the different colors, the orange, the red, and yellow of their hands to create the flames. So how to start arranging it, you're gonna just start placing everything together, deciding how you want it to look. It's really up to you. If you know about campfires, you know that you're supposed to kind of angle your logs, right? It's like kind of a teepee style. So you just kind of decide how are you gonna lay those out. So that's your first step, to glue down onto the black paper. And then your second step is to glue the largest piece of your campfire, which is the orange, on top of your log so it stays, it doesn't overlap onto the black. And when I glue this down, the orange part, I just put glue in the middle here. I leave all the flames loose. That way, as I'm arranging, I can put some behind and it's not all glued down, and it's really easy to put some pieces behind like so, right? So I always recommend arranging first to decide how you want it to look before you add the glue. So you can always flip pieces over. If you want it more like that, you can always cut off the black line. Something like that maybe. A little bit more red right here. You can try to balance it so you have some red on both sides, some yellow on both sides. And then it's just really up to your own creativity how you want to lay all the little pieces out. You may find once you start laying them out that you want to add more. Put a little bit piece down back here. Maybe one kind of poking out over here. And then you have your beautiful campfire. And then you can take a picture if you really love the way it looks. Take everything off and then glue it down. Or you can just kind of wing it and do piece by piece. It's really up to you. It's just a suggestion if that helps you. Glue stick is really great because it's less messy. And then don't forget when you're done to add your skewer stick with your marshmallow. All right, so all you have to do now is glue down all of your pieces and your campfire is done. It was really fun making this project with you. Thanks for making art with me.